You are listening to Lead Through Strengths, where you'll learn to apply your greatest strengths at work. And today, joining me is Strother Gaines, in from DC, here in the studio in Austin, Texas. Round, it's the round of the sea. Kiki! Okay, I love what you talk about. I love how you talk about calendars, burnout, big C, little c. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about how when it's tough to manage time, and you're doing an audit of yourself, and you're trying to get real with why you're overbooked all the time. Tie that into strengths and how you can take a good, honest look at yourself and what's leading to what you really do.
This is her, ladies and gentlemen. This is her own individual issue. But
I may or may not have this issue personally.
She's working on it. We're doing a lot of work. Big C, little c is something that I use all the time, and the big C, the C is commitment. And what are your larger commitments? And the big C is what you'd like to put down if someone was, when you were telling people, what are you committed to? And you're like, oh, family, growth, strength.
Dog rescue.
Yeah, yeah, these are the things that I am very committed to. And so the big C is usually the high-minded, and it's the thing that would get us the thing that actually we do want, because we don't have these high-minded commitments if we don't value them. The little c is what I would think were your commitments if I followed you around quietly for 48 hours. What would I think you were actually committed to? I wasn't able to interact with you. I couldn't talk with you. I was judging exclusively on my webcam vision of you for 48 hours. What would I say you were committed to? And for a long time, one of my struggles is the phone addiction piece, because, you know, you're in the lift, you're on your way somewhere, you've got a little break, you don't have enough time to really do deep work, so you're just going to pull out your phone, check in, scroll, all the sort of things. And that would have been what
people would say, you're committed to Instagram.
You're committed to your phone, yeah. Mm-hmm. You're on it all the time. Piddly little iPhone games. I used to play iPhone games all the time, and I had to delete them because I recognized so much of my time, if an external alien force was coming down to see what I was doing, they'd be like, you do that thing a lot. What's that thing? So that's not forwarding the high-minded ideals that actually matter at the end of the day. So when you are calendaring and seeing, is this the question that I think is most powerful in coaching, that I resisted very much when I first started coaching, but now I really do like it, is what's that in service of? Rather than asking, why do you do something? Because that puts us on the defensive to defend why we've made that choice. Saying, well, what's that in service of? What do you hope to gain from doing this thing? And sometimes we can't help but be reactive. You have an inbox that's full. It's just a crazy day. It's not to make you wrong for ever doing that. But when you can be intentional and you can tie your actions to a big C as opposed to a little c or no c at all, which is probably even worse when you're just like, whatever, I'm totally reactionary all the time. But when you can put intention behind it and tie them in, then the things that you do take on, the things you allow into your calendar, and sometimes that is intentionally blocking the calendar so that nothing may enter that space, giving yourself, as you've called it, the white space in the calendar where you're like, no, this is a protected time. And I recognize if I don't put in something that says block this, that I will fill it with everything.
I literally had to call it untouchable. Yeah. That's what I label it. And it's message to self, not just to other people.
Right.
Literally untouchable.
Don't mess with it. Yeah.
And if I break that commitment to myself, what commitment could I ever keep if I touch the untouchable?
Yeah. And I mean,
my name is dirt.
To reveal a little bit of this, like I remember how hard that was for you at the beginning. We've had that technique.
Hard.
It's still hard. We had that technique for a while where you're like, I'm going to block out an hour here and now, and I'm going to make sure. And then we'd get back on the phone and you'd be like, I didn't do it. And it's because I had this really good reason. And there always is a good reason.
My favorite customer called and
I couldn't say no.
I love them.
Yeah. And
what am I supposed to do?
The thing is, you always have the choice. You are in control of your decisions. And if something did come up and it was like your appendix has to come out, obviously touch the untouchable. But it is when you've set those commitments in place and you say, this is how I want to live my life. Again, it's almost like a stoicism piece, pulling back from the emotion of the immediate emotion and planning things out in advance before you're there. So then when you get there, it's the whole idea of like, set up your running shoes before you go to bed so that when you wake up, they're there. And you don't have to make that decision. If your calendar's already booked, You don't have to make that decision. And if you do, you have to really own what that means and go in and saying, I'm touching the untouchable, and this is what that's in service of, and I have deemed that that is more important for me right now. When that pattern just continues and continues and continues, then you might need to put something new in place if that doesn't, again...
If it's not working.
Right, if it's not working or it's
because
not
Because really what you're saying is, I am breaking my commitment to myself, and if I can't keep a commitment to myself, who can I keep a commitment to?
Totally.
Ultimately, no one. You're trying to keep it for everyone, and that's probably why you're doing it, but in the end, you're not keeping a commitment to anyone if you can't trust yourself.
Put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you help the kids.
Thanks for listening to Lead Through Strengths, where you can apply your greatest strengths at work. Hope you get at least one tip that you can take today in terms of keeping your commitment to yourself, keeping your commitment to your strengths. And if you want a little help with that, get Strother in the house. He's good at keeping you honest at doing this stuff. Bye for now.
Bye.